everyone, welcome to She the People Screen Fest. And today we are here to talk about the evolution of OTT. Over the past few years, we have seen the rise of this digital space. Does OTT has the potential in it to replace television and the small screen altogether? Or will it learn to coexist in this space just like its predecessors? To talk about this and much more, I have with me today two very talented artists who have seen the evolution and move of entertainment from theaters and silver screens to the digital medium. First up, we have Renuka Shahane, who actually does not need any introduction. We have adored her since her days as the host of DD show Surbi. She has starred in shows like Imtihan, Sailab, and Antakshini. She has been in films like Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, and then now she has also made her first Hindi film as a director, Tribangha. Second up, we have Maanvi Gagroo, one of the first breakout web series stars in India. We have seen her in web series like Pictures and Tripling, and of course, the hugely popular Four More Shots, Please. She has featured in films like Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan and Ujda Chaman, and OTT film 377 Abnormal. Thank you so much for being here and welcome both of you. Do you think that the deadly combination of OTT and COVID-19 can make theaters redundant altogether?
No, you can't make theaters redundant. I think there are certain things that we would like to see only on the big screen. And I think during the pandemic, one has missed that opportunity quite a lot. But I think that they can coexist very well, the OTT platform as well as things that are shown on the big screen. And there is certainly a very, very strong divide in the kind of things that one likes watching on the big screen and what one likes to watch on the smaller screen perhaps. So I think they can coexist very beautifully.
What do you think, Manvi?
Think that there will be a certain kind of films that there will always be an audience for in theaters. Like, your spectacle films, like you call them, like larger than life things. You can't possibly enjoy those films the same way that you do at home. So there'll be certain films which will find an audience on OTT, and in fact they'll actually do better, and they'll be better models in terms of money making and everything if they were released directly on OTT. But there are such certain films, and especially in the Indian context, the masala film, and jahan hero ऐसे गाड़ी से निकल के पांच लोगों को मार रहा है, and the cars are flipping over, and things like that. Those things will always be, there'll always be an audience for it, at least for now. But yeah, even superhero films. Abhi jaise kitni, there's so many films that are coming, like like your Brahmastra or your Ram Setu, and all of these, which are very मतलब ऐसा spectacle films. Also in our country,
Yeah.
I'm sure बाहर भी होता होगा, that there are
Yeah.
like going for a movie is like it's like it's like a thing we do on the weekend. Like families go together, and it's not just the movie. It is आप dinner
Yeah.
करोगे से पहले या movie के बाद, or you will go shopping and then you'll go for a movie, or people will go on dates for a movie, or with your friends after your exams you go for a movie. So so it's more about an outing rather than just the movie watching experience. So I think
Yeah.
in reality, cinemas aren't going anywhere for at least the next few decades. But of course, audience, because of the pandemic, OTT audience has moved a lot. Like they've shifted to OTT from the small screen, yeah, from movies. And of course, during the pandemic, so of course, the theaters suffered a lot, movies suffered. But I
Yeah.
don't think it can replace it entirely.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. So, both of you have raised a very important point here that there is certain kind of content that can be viewed only in theaters. So let's explore this. Do you feel that now OTT is also being boxed or typecast for content that cannot make it to theaters or television? Do you think that first it was a breakthrough medium, but now it is being restrained in that way? What do you think, Renuka?
No, I really don't think that it still has, got itself into a box. I don't think so. I mean, what I feel is that creators think in certain ways, and so those certain ways are shown definitely on either the big screen or the OTT platforms. So there are only those seven stories that actually creators work with. So it's not about the box, but there is a certain sensibility about the people who also greenlight projects on the OTT platform. So obviously they will go for certain things that they want on their platform, which is certainly different from perhaps what we get to see on the mainstream, or what we definitely would like to see on the mainstream. So yeah, there is a certain similarity in certain aspects. Like for example, let me just say gender equality. I think the OTT platforms are very, very firm about that, that they have a very gender equal space, that they want to present. So then one thing that they put out might look slightly similar to the next thing put out. So, but I don't think that we've come to that point where we feel it's really very typical. I don't think so. There is still such a lot of opportunity to explore so many different spaces, on the OTT platform. So I don't think that it is boxed in any way. No.
Manvi, your thoughts?
I completely agree that I don't think OTT has been boxed yet. In fact, if anything, OTT has the liberty to do whatever. In fact, that this is where we are experimenting right now in terms of stories, in terms of casting, in terms of topics that we are touching upon. Because this is the only place where we are still. I mean, it's because it's still a young
Yeah.
platform, so to say, that we still touch wood haven't been boxed into anything yet. So everybody is trying different things for whatever, and different things are working also. Like they're different. You
Yeah.
can't say these kind of things work. But what I meant when I said that there are certain films that will work better on OTT, I meant strictly in terms of the reach it will have and the appreciation it will get. Because a lot of films, like we know what
Yeah.
the movie going audience, especially Jesse, it's not, we don't, when we think of movie cinemas, we think of multiplexes, but that's not your real footfall of
Yeah.
cinemas.
That's
Your
not true.
real cinema footfall is coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities and single screen cinema halls. So and they don't want and for them cinema is more about escapism. They want to on a weekend, after having worked so hard through the week, they just want to have fun, gane, achhi locations, good looking people, good clothes and action and drama and hasi mazak. So they want that, like your typical masala Bollywood film.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so, or your, like, even in Hollywood, in fact, if you see the films that are releasing in theaters are your superhero films, your Marvel, your DC comics
Yeah.
and all. So in terms of money making, I meant it's a better model. If you have a film like, let's say, Roma, when Roma released, had Roma released in
Yeah.
theaters, it might not have done well. It might not have been even
Correct.
appreciated the way it got appreciated. But it's because they released it directly on OTT, it gathered the kind of word of mouth that it did, and then it became a
Yeah.
hit. So like that. In fact, so if anything,
Yeah.
cinemas have been put in a box, not OTT.
That's a good way to put it, I think. One of the other grudges that people have against online streaming, or rather people who make content for it, is the charge of obscenity. That's a word that you hear again and again increasingly these days. Grotesque violence, sexually explicit content, sometimes bordering where it makes you question whether the consent is being conveyed properly to the viewers or not. Why do you think are makers fixated on this trope of grotesque violence and sexually explicit content? Um, is it necessary at all, or have you overplayed the hand? Renuka,
No,
what do you think?
I don't think that it is overplaying the hand. It's something that we've never explored. So I mean, it's a very integral part of what is going on. If you pick up the paper today, you will find things that are even worse than what we even can dream of to put onto into a fictional kind of space. So our reality is harsher than fiction, 10 times harsher than our fiction. So talking about sexual violence, so we have not really celebrated sexual choices, the kind of we've never seen that happening. That is why you feel that it is overwhelming. Or even obscenity. I mean, there is a maidan right in front of my house, and friends play with each other there, okay? Whether girls or whether boys, and they are interspersing each and everything in their conversation with abuses, expletives. They're not used as abuses or expletives. Sometimes there are, sometimes they aren't. So that is our reality. Is art a reflection of our reality in some ways? Of course.
Absolutely. What do you think, Manvi? Do you agree, or do you think that sometimes makers do tend to insert such things intentionally? That's true.
Uh, See, when it's intentional, it's visible and nobody likes it. But when it's not intentional, when it's just organic, we don't mind it because, and like Renuka ma'am said, that I mean, we all use the F word. I mean, okay, maybe I won't include others. I use the F word, and not like a gali. For me, it's not a bad word.
Yeah.
It's almost a way to express some, like, I'll be like, oh my god, it's effing amazing, it's like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad word in my head. So I'm saying, so we need to we need to, like ma'am said, that we need to be in touch with reality. That is reality. So you can't say that ऐसा थोड़ी होता है या हमारे बच्चे ऐसी बात नहीं करते हैं and all of that. This is how youngsters talk. Of course, when it's forced,
Yeah.
it's visible, and then it doesn't
Yeah.
go down well. But my thing is that there's so much more that we have in the past digested, like misogyny, like regressive content, like virginal women just अपने आप को समर्पित करके अपने हस्बैंड को पति वो वाली चीजें, वो स्टोरीज तो हमने बड़े अच्छे से लैप अप कर ली. तब nobody said anything that oh, this is regressive content or anything. Why? I mean, I'm just saying that now, and see, we have to have room for all sorts of stories: good, bad, ugly, action, drama, sexual,
Yeah.
coming of age, family drama, comedy, stupid comedy, smart comedy.
Yeah.
You have to have room for that, and let the audience choose. Abhi,
Yeah.
I don't personally, I don't like a lot of violence
Yeah.
wala shows or movies. I don't watch. It's as simple as that. Like, if I watch a
Yeah.
trailer,
Correct.
or I'll watch the first episode and I'll be like, oh, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Khatam. I mean, itni choice hai abhi right now. There's so many
Yeah.
platforms, so many shows and films that we can just choose from. And
Yeah, and it's, to tell you frankly, it's very clear in the films that we put out on OTT what exactly are the problems there, like
correct,
whether
correct.
sexual violence, bad
Nudity, bad
language,
language,
everything is
correct,
mentioned. So if you are
correct.
not interested in those, don't watch it.
Don't
The
watch
remote is in your hands.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once we did an interview with Manu, and you said something really nice that cast actors but not faces. You were talking about stereotyping, how actors are stereotyped, Northeastern actors, portray actors with a specific skin color. How do you think online streaming platforms are faring in that space, Manvi?
It's better than films, but you have to understand that we are all coming from the same pool of society. We are all, because ऐसा नहीं है कि the people who are running or making things on OTT are वो आसमान से गिर रहे हैं. That's not true. They are also, we're all learning. We're all getting better. Some of us at a better rate. Some of us are slower. Whatever. So I feel that certain things have changed, of course, and like like Renuka ma'am was saying, that conversations around gender and gender equality and parity, those have come in because these are contemporary conversations. These are conversations that we are having now, on social media or in our lives. So it's seeping into the content we are making also. But there are still, like, beauty standards are still, I mean, we're still struggling
Yeah.
with that. I feel we still want our lead actress to be skinny and fair and beautiful features and whatever. And हीरोइन की दोस्त या हीरो की बहन will be the good actor, supporting actor. Yeah. वो I mean, those are things that those are tropes of like Bollywood, but and I think more or less OTT has stepped away from it, but वो आ रहा है थोड़ा, little bit of that, a little bit of, because a lot of filmmakers are now, a lot of Bollywood people are now making web shows. They've all come into this. Everybody's, so there are people who are trying to break that, and there are people who are trying to push that further. So there's, I think, a mix of both. Hopefully it won't, it because it's a new medium, hopefully it will change things. But I also feel that every new medium, while it challenges certain status quo, it also forms certain status quo of its own. So 10 years from now there'll be things we'll have a problem with on OTT, कि OTT में ये होता है वो होता है, yeah.
Yeah,
So वो तो होगा ही, वो तो एक, I mean, it's
yeah,
like life, right? Like you go up and then you plateau, and then something new will come up, and then that will challenge it, and that will be really good for some time, and then that will stop.
yeah,
So think it's just life, I guess.
Another thing that you said, Renuka, today is that art mirrors our reality. So
yeah,
let's bring in portrayal of women and how we see women in real life into the conversation, and talk about the beauty standards that are upheld
yeah.
not just in OTT but across all platforms of entertainment. How can this change begin at society level? Or do you think that it should start from the level of entertainers? Who should start the change here when it comes to stereotypical beauty standards for women?
No, I think now the conversation has begun. Okay, like whether it's on social media or whether it's even on in companies which actually have beauty products being sold, or soaps which are constantly have told us a certain way of beauty is the beauty standard. And now they're changing their ad films, they're changing their opinions, they're celebrating diversity, they're celebrating they're against shaming people in terms of their body images or racial features. So I think that the conversation has started because generally I think we've become much more aware of a lot of isms in society now due to the power of social media. So I think that that is reflected, but as Manvi rightly said, we still want to see a certain sort of heroine in mainstream films. That's going to take a long time to change because content providers finally, especially in the mainstream space, have to think of economical viability. Why are we doing the things that we are doing in a mainstream space? It is a business, you want to earn money, so you're not going to do something revolutionary there because that will mean that you will not get your money's worth back. So the moment society changes its nazariya towards a particular thing, including beauty standards, the mainstream people will jump in and kind of celebrate that as the new normal, I would say. So I think that it's for the mainstream, definitely I think they will wait for society to kind of project a different beauty standard or a different conversation and then support it in their content. But OTT space, I think we have already started. So I don't think we need to wait.
Definitely. So, how do you think that we can change, remove these barriers of beauty from our society?
Me?
Yeah, yeah.
I think all of us are doing it, because all of us are talking about it. The most important thing is to be vocal, to be supportive of such people. Like, let me give you an example of Tribhanga. Because I always feel that women roles, protagonist roles, are very ageist. Like, you have only roles written for a certain age, basically. After that, people seem to lose interest. So I was very keen that my protagonist should be of all ages. For me, Nayantara Apte is my protagonist, and she's over 60, and it doesn't matter. And that's the whole point of kind of introducing beautiful, talented women into your things in your own work. Which is going to make a change gradually, because people have loved the fact that that these three women from three different generations have been shown as the heroes of my film. And so I think gradually, even the beauty standards, I mean, you have to speak through your work. Apart from being vocal, even otherwise on your social media, how else are you going to bring that change about?
Definitely. What are your thoughts, Manvi?
No, same. Like you have to, obviously, in your life or in your on social media on your account, you have to keep talking about it, keep pushing the envelope. Keep putting it out there. No matter how much feminazi they call you or pseudo feminist they call you and all of that, just ignore all that. Just keep pushing the boundaries. But it has to reflect in your work. I mean, because somewhere it has to have an impact in real life also. So, whether it's through your work, whether you just do some grassroots level work. You attach yourself to NGO, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
some people may not want to do that. You continue working hard in your own field, but your politics, social politics, need to show through that, through your
Yeah.
work. And I also feel, and especially with OTT or films or whatever, like, because it is it's such a visual medium. It's so powerful. We don't even realize the subliminal effect it has.
Yeah.
So, for example, like, I felt that with even Tribhanga, you are saying, but four more shots. Like, if you see the poster, four girls who are completely different looking. Like, there's one of
Yeah.
us is short, one of us is tall, one of us is dark, one of us is fair, one of us is fat, one of us is skinny, one of us is has curly hair, one of us is straight. It's just they're four very
Yeah.
different looking women, all glamorous, all beautiful, and just like, so visually itself, it's just we don't realize. I didn't realize it till much later, season one, after it released. I was like, you know what? Like, just look at how, like, different we are, and of course the characters are also different and all of that. But you need to. It's like, for any change to happen, there have to be some people on the front line who are pushing the
Yeah.
envelope, who may seem like they are being too radical or too
Yeah.
whatever, but that's what, by the time it trickles down, that's, I mean, it gets diluted, and but we need that. So, I like, for example, the bra burning feminism, like, a lot of people felt that that's stupid, and even now, if some people might be like, oh, that was too much, and or whatever, but it was because of those bra burning feminists that today we are sitting here and having these conversations. And I see that in the new generation. Like, my niece, I have a niece who's 10 years old, and she's
Wow.
like, it's beautiful, like, the way she, I mean, of course, she's also born into social media, so she's surrounded by all these conversations and these isms and these words and all. But she has, like, her bio says, she, her, and I asked her one day. I said, do you know what that, I mean, when you put out pronouns like that, do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, of course. And then she's talked to me about gender spectrum, and and I was like,
Wow.
wow. And these were things I didn't know when I was 10.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, her knowledge was very, like, surface level or whatever. So I tried to explain to her further. But the fact that she was aware, or she had
Yeah.
interest in that, or she had that understanding that, we are all different, but we have to, like, accept each other and live. I mean, I was just so moved by that, and I was like, so
Yeah.
somewhere it's changing. Somewhere things are changing, and it's beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember I felt that when I was watching the Wonder Woman, the film, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so,
Wow.
although the film, मुझे ठीक ठीक लगी, like, but just, but I was just like, this is like, I wish I had this film to watch when I was really young. Like, just
Right.
stylized women doing action and, like, flying from cliffs and this and that. It's so cool. Like, we always had
Yeah.
men doing it. We always saw
Yeah.
Superman, Spider-Man, and these guys doing it. So I was glad that my kids can watch this film, and kids her age or her friends. And so, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's changing.
What do you think this generation's legacy for its sisterhood is going to be? We have so many mediums at our disposal to reach out to younger women, younger girls. Are we doing the right thing? Are we right on the right track? And what all needs to be done further, according to you? Renuka, please go ahead.
I think we need to do more, especially with young, especially about the beauty standards things, because now with the social media, kind of connect that these youngsters have, their likes and their whole life depends on those likes, and then they do things to their bodies, or they starve themselves almost to fit into the beauty standards that are set by, people who in the beauty industry, or who they consider are, their role models in terms of beauty. So I think that is still there is a lot of level of trolling, fat shaming, body shaming, lots of things happening in their lives which lead to huge mental depression and problems. So I think that a lot more needs to be done for young girls and young boys, in fact, growing up, looking at these warped images perhaps of perfect women, or I don't know how one can do this, but I mean, I do it with my children, obviously. As a mother, I kind of try and change things, their own attitudes towards, beauty and everything else. But I think this conversation needs to be had much more because we are still targeting slightly older people. I think we really need to start at a very, very young age. The way we have started talking about even sexual harassment, and schools have taken it up and they, teach children good touch and bad touch, and they're very open to any, feedback from the child, and they're very, very alert. In the same manner, we need to talk about this, whole concept of growing up, social media, the influence of that, beauty standards, especially for young girls, and the kind of impact that that has. I think one needs to do more. I think around Women's Day, perhaps we could, that is the conversation that we should have much more than for grown women, perhaps, who have led a fairly like okay life, I would say.
Absolutely. What do you think, Manvi?
No, yeah, I feel it's damn scary for young girls to and
Yeah,
to be online and start because like for them it's their life, right? Like they have friends and this and
yeah,
that, and then suddenly they're opening themselves to the world and they don't without being prepared for it. Like I get trolled, I can handle it. I also couldn't
yeah,
initially. I could
yeah,
the first few times it happened. It really did affect my mental health. I was anxious. I've stopped tweeting altogether. Now I only
yeah,
retweet or whatever because I don't want to deal with that kind of nonsense. So with younger kids, I mean, with really young kids, I can't even imagine, like, 16, 18-year-olds or who, and that time you're most vulnerable also, and
yeah,
and suddenly, like, people are saying things, it's scary, it can push you to have a very unhealthy self image and self worth, and which will lead to very unhealthy behavior patterns, and we don't even realize, and the kind of impact it has. So I think firstly, parents need to keep having that conversation with their kids, and
yeah,
schools, and like adults need to be much more involved and engaged with their children
yeah.
about these topics, and give them room to discuss it. Like they just need to know. And like as a child, I know, I always with my parents, I even if I didn't discuss things, I knew I could. So
Yes.
ऐसा नहीं था that if I'd ever land myself in trouble, I wouldn't know where to go.
Now we have plus size models, which we never did. There
Yeah,
was no concept of that at all. And now people are being more and more mindful. Even the major fashion houses are supportive of, plus size models, and, are celebrating different body types. And so I think that, yeah, slowly it's, changing from being this, there's this one kind of thing, like the anorexic sort of space that was really bad for young children. I think now we are stepping away from that and being more inclusive and being more diverse in the things that we celebrate. So I think that it's a slow journey. These things take a long time to make an impact in a society as diverse as ours. And we have so much, which is we have so many Indias living together at the same time, that it's a very difficult, kind of thing to traverse. Trying to get everybody on the same page is very tough. But social media has made a huge difference because you can have conversations around all these different topics.
I think this is a lovely point to conclude this conversation. It's full of hope that, hopefully things are moving in right direction, and hopefully we will, OTT and entertainment and us as a society will eventually help women liberate how. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Renuka and Manvi, for being part of this conversation with